2026. I am filling the shoes of the wonderful Lisa Shilp Gassaway, who has unfortunately left the neighborhood and moved down to San Diego. And I am now the new chair of the Montalvo Area Community Council. And I am joined by a wonderful team of co-chairs. We have James Lowry in the back, our vice chair. Cassie Lawhead, our secretary, Betsy Holt, our treasurer, and Mark Abbey, our member at large. We do have welcome everyone. We have 2 openings on the board, so if you are interested, please let us know, and we would be happy to have you join us and all the things that we do. There's a lot happening in the city right now. From city council to the school board, there's a lot. Last night, council passed an anti-harassment ordinance for tenants. Next week, they're going to chat. I don't want to steal your thunder, but next week they're talking about possibly voting in the mayor versus appointing. So there's a lot happening right now. And yeah, we're just really excited to kind of keep the conversation going. I'm not sure if you saw in the newsletter, but we will be hosting more meetings this year. So instead of the usual kind of quarterly, we meet 4 times a year, we decided we wanted to meet every other month. So just to keep, I'm glad I'm getting a nod there. Just to keep momentum, keep folks informed, since there are so many council meetings, there's just so much happening, not only in our neighborhood, but throughout the city. So we're not always going to meet here. I think we were talking about maybe a meeting in the park in the summer. So just get outside and connect with each other. So with that, I just want to welcome you. And I will pass it off to our regularly scheduled wonderful Assistant Chief, Matt Kane.
Hi, thank you for that. Been part of your district now since 2020. I'm promoted to commander, and each district has a district commander, and then I made assistant chief last June, but I was able to keep Montalvo, so I'm your person, which is great. I did pass around a crime map with some dots on there, but in interest of time, what I've done and what I normally do is highlight some things that might stick out on there. And like always, I'll leave my contact information at the end, but if there's ever a question I can answer to deep dive into something further on there, every question you have, you can always get a hold of me, like it's happened in the past, and I can clarify anything. To start off with, before I dive into the crime, we are coming on our new strategic plan for the police department that should be launched here soon. The 2 overarching goals: vagrant-related calls, and then our response times to calls, and then we'll dive in further in the plan. Next council meeting, we will have our emergency services manager, Mac Douglas, here. Also, that'll be is that still scheduled for April 8th? So he does a nice program to keep yourself prepared for emergencies, and he brings a go bag and he shows you and he goes through it. It's really neat. And Councilman Duran, thank you for being here. And also, he's going to talk a little bit more about the vagrancy stuff, but we are down, which is good, about 19% from last year and then 8% the year before, so it's good. Another thing I want to talk about is our CERT class, our Community Emergency Response Team class that also Mac Douglas puts on, and that is similar to what he's going to be doing for you folks at the next council meeting, but it's actually 6 weeks. It's 1 day per week, and you can sign up on our website, but it's really great. That starts April 2nd, so to put that on your radar. So we dive into our crimes. Remember, these are we use the national database now, so it looks like a lot. We have 106 for this reporting period. And looking at these, remember that things listed under assault, we do categorize domestic violence, which kind of jacks those numbers up, raises those a little bit. We also categorize now not just the felonies, but also the misdemeanors, and so any of your misdemeanor batteries also get categorized. So when you move through those, we did have a couple felony batteries, and we made some arrests behind. There was out of those 12, there was 4 domestic violence, and then the rest were misdemeanors. Like I said, I could dig in further if anyone had any clarification on the exact assaults and locations. One highlight, that burglary that's on there. So we had a string of burglaries happening around different stores. Ace Hardware was getting hit. There was a crew, and we did make an arrest. There's a beauty supply place in our district on Telephone that this crew had hit, and ultimately our detectives made an arrest and charged a couple people with all of those, so that's good. And that, just the one on there was the one that was related to the rest of the city we made the arrest on. We go into our, the next category with the damaging and vandalism. Again, nothing of note as far as any patterns. We had a lot of vehicle tamperings. We have vehicles, I'll get into in a second, but still people leaving their doors unlocked on vehicles, and it also gets categorized under the vehicle tampering. So drug related. So remember, with our NIBRs, we're also classifying any drug related arrests, and so that's why that number is high. In 20, we do take a hard stance on narcotics related offenses in our city. We consider it a quality of life arrest. We contact someone and they have narcotics on them, they'll go to jail, and that's why that number is so high. And there's several of those. Again, those are related to arrests. We get into fraud. Now, we do have a lot of commerce in our district, and all those fraud-related calls are related to businesses in our district. And there's a large, like I said, we have a lot of businesses. We go back into larceny, thefts, really high number, 46. Majority of those are shoplift, and we either cite and release, which is considered an arrest, or they go to jail for that. And with the kind of looking at the map, if you do kind of a deep dive on the clusters there, you have the target area, obviously in our district, Winco, Habit, those shopping centers, and we do respond to quite a few calls in there. Numerous arrests were made out of those. Also of note, bike thefts are usually pretty large, like they were this time, and a lot of it is bikes are being locked, but some of them aren't, and we do see a lot of bikes getting stolen. We do recover quite a few as well. And then, again, I'd already mentioned it, but the vehicles being left open, those are considered thefts, and so motor vehicle. Of note, the actual motor vehicle thefts. So 5, what I'm looking for here are patterns as far as locations or vehicles. And looking at this, we had a Toyota Camry that was stolen. We had a tractor that was stolen. A Penske truck that wasn't returned and was reported as stolen. Honda Odyssey and a Chevy Silverado. So no actual pattern there. What we didn't have, which sometimes our district gets hit on, is a catalytic converter thefts. And I spotted none on this, which is good. Those are a real pain to deal with. We dive into robberies. So both of these, one was a Tractor Supply and one was at Winco. Typically you think of a robbery, someone attacking someone else with a gun or something being violent. Both of these were basically a shoplift that happened, and as the person was leaving, they confronted loss prevention, and there was a scuffle, and then that turns into force or fear, and it turns into a robbery. So both of those were under that category. So the person would get arrested for the felony robbery because force was used. Again, no stolen vehicle trends, no catalytic converters. You're talking about, so weapons violations, we did make 2 on here. Both of those were traffic stops, and then narcotics were found, and also guns were found in the vehicles. So it gets categorized under that for the weapons. I am, like I said, more than happy to dive in on specifics. If you email me, the incidents at 106, again, we have a big district. I'm not seeing anything that's over concerning or trends, and that's what I'm always looking for. I am at, for the record, it's M. Cain, so MCAIN, at venturapd.org. .org, and it's 805-339-4488 is my direct line. Like always, I like to leave our non-emergency 24/7 365 number is 805-650-8010. It'll always ring into our dispatch center. Of course, if there's a crime in progress, you want to report something, or you're actively being assaulted, or something you need, someone's getting into your house, please always dial 911. But that's a good number. If you're not, that 650-8010. If you're not quite sure, but you want to report it, please report it. We'll get officers there, and we don't know if it's happening if you don't call us. Again, thank you for your time. And Councilman Duran will talk about some of the stats related to vagrancy that we're really proud of. And I can open up for any questions at this point.
Question?
Yes.
Remember to repeat this, will you?
One more time?
Will you repeat it after I ask you?
Sure.
There's, somebody's cut a hole in the fence and has a bike over there and is making a little place to sleep. Remind us who we contact about that.
So that 650, so the question was a hole in a fence and somebody potentially going through there and sleeping and hanging out. So that 650-8010 number is a good number to call. We have 8 officers and a supervisor assigned to our patrol task force, and they deal nothing but vagrancy in our city. And they're good at it. They do it all day long, and Councilman Duran will speak of that a little bit also. But they work 7 days a week, so they're here Saturday, Sunday, they're here every day. And I'm constantly fielding either emails or calls and forwarding them to Patrol Task Force. So please call us. Thank you. Anything else? Yes.
If we're seeing like consistent streets or areas where speeding is getting aggressive and really fast, is that also something that we could call you?
Yes.
Number to get someone to post?
So that would be an email to me directly or a phone call, and I can get our traffic unit on it. We can set up speed surveys. We can put the speed trailer that you see out there occasionally, and then they can kind of gather data, and then they can work speed. There was a gentleman here had an issue with the stop sign up there by the park, and we did have units go out there, motor officers, and sat on it and dealt with it. I can't say that the second we leave, they're not going to continue it, but enforcement does work. Thank you. Anything else? Yes.
Two things. One, I actually just saw a few days ago motorcycle units out in Ralston, which is awesome. So that was great.
Thank you.
Love that. And then on the crime map here, the blue credit card icons for fraud offenses. I noticed there's a lot of them that are in the residential areas, actually kind of near like my tract and neighborhood, and was wondering, is that where maybe someone who had been the victim of identity theft would call, and that's why it gets spot there in the map, or?
Yeah, 100%. So a lot of times the card will get swiped at a business, and then they'll call from the home and it gets related back there. But that's exactly what it's from. Is just what you said. Someone gets a hold of their numbers either through a machine or whatnot, and then these fraudsters spend time trying to take money out of your account, and then we go and take a report. 100%. Yeah, 805-339-4488. And it's Matt Cain, C-A-I-N. Yes, sir. Anytime. Well, thank you so much. Thanks for your time.
Thank you, Matt. All right, now all of our updates from our city council member, Jim Duran. Thank you.
Well, good evening, everyone. Tonight, I have the privilege of presenting a plaque in recognition of something truly significant, the completion of the Montalvo Safe Routes in School project. Yeah. While the ribbon was cut back in November of 2023, the impact of this project continues every single day. Every morning when children walk safely to Montalvo Elementary, every afternoon when families bike home, every evening when neighbors connect on sidewalks that simply didn't exist before. This project was not just about pouring concrete or painting bike lanes. It's about safety. It's about dignity. It's about community identity. Over 2 miles of continuous sidewalks, a mile of new bike lanes, dozens of new and reconstructed curb ramps, 27 new pedestrian and bicycle crossings, and landmark signage that proudly says, "This is Montalvo." This was a $2.83 million investment in your neighborhood, with $1.38 million from Caltrans and an additional $1 million from the city through Measure O and gas tax funds. But more important than the dollars is what the dollars represent: partnership. The project happened because the city of Ventura, the Ventura Unified School District, Public Works, community leaders, and Montalvo Community Council worked together. And I want to say clearly tonight, the Montalvo Community Council District, I want to say clearly tonight, the Montalvo Community Council's voice and effort and spearheaded this. This is what happened. You guys made this happen. Your advocacy mattered and engagement mattered. Safe routes to school is about more than kids getting to campus. It reduces congestion. It encourages healthy habits. It strengthens neighborhood connections. It allows children to walk without being forced into the street. It builds a stronger, more unified community. This plaque is a symbol not just of a completed project, but of what can happen when a community shows up, speaks up, and partners together for something bigger than itself. On behalf of the city of Ventura, thank you for your leadership, your persistence, and your heart for Montalvo. It is my honor to present this plaque to the Montalvo Community Council in recognition of your partnership in making this project a reality. Thank you and congratulations. Thank you.
I want to receive it. My son walks on those sidewalks every day,
That's
back
right.
and forth, back and forth. Yes.
Yes.
Actually,
Look at that pig.
but you can almost see my house from there. Hey. Yeah, let's do it.
Thank you.
Well, the whole, if we have time, Mark, you were very involved in this.
Yeah, Mark.
You wanna come up here, Betsy? Betsy, come on up, James, quickly, you don't have that much time. Thank you, Casey.
Awesome.
Well, one of the items that I was asked to speak on tonight was the Public Safety Burden Equity and Reentry Partnership Policy. Basically what that means is I submitted a policy consideration last year. Something I had been working on for many years is what happens is a lot of times that people that are, well, people in general, but in particular, I'm talking about people that are unhoused, that end up getting arrested, and they get brought to the county jail for whatever reason, and then they get released here. And then they end up staying in the city of Ventura instead of getting back to the city of origin. Well, it's easier for other cities to drop off and, leave and go. I mean, it is. And so we found out that, 21% of the people that got arrested from another city that were homeless that ended up on our streets within 30 days, 21% of them were rearrested, committed another crime. And so they were like survival crimes. They were crimes like theft and car theft. And just happened, not too long ago, but Missy's Cupcake Creations on Johnson Drive. There was somebody who got out of jail, and they walked into Missy's Cupcake Creations, and she got a little bit nervous, and then somebody who's a regular came in, and she was trying to say, "Can you just stay in here for a minute? Like I want to call the police." So he stayed in there because he'd go in and get his coffee, get his donut, and then take off. And she said, "Could you stay?" He says, "Yeah." So he stays. While he stayed, the guy ran out, jumped in his car, and took off. So he drove around, ended up ditching the car, got in another car, stole it, and ended up getting rearrested, obviously. But we're saying this because people that are getting arrested that are maybe unhoused, this is what happens. So we came up with a policy consideration. What would it look like to partner with the county to utilize patrol task force in the city of Ventura to get them back to the city of origin? So, the county was awesome. Sheriff Freihoff, his two assistant sheriffs were in the room. Chief Dickey is amazing. We have an amazing police chief. We sat in there and we talked. Supervisor Matt Levere was in the meeting, and we talked about what would it look like as a partnership. So we said, let's do a trial run. And nothing's forced. If you don't want to go, you don't have to go. But when you're getting ready to get released, the sheriffs will ask, would you like a ride back? And if they say yes, then they call PTF, our Patrol Task Force. We show up and we take them back where they want to go. Where they want to go normally is a friend's house, a mother's house, someplace where they can at least hang out for a little bit. If they don't have a place to go, but they just want to get back to their city, we take them to a social service place that could provide them a meal and maybe a place to sleep or services. So I wanted to let you know in 2025, this was like probably a 6-month project, we were able to reconnect 129 people back to their services or to their families. 129 people, not too bad. And I want to tell you, of those 129, there was only contact with 9 of them, and it was contact through maybe a patrol call or a PTF in their daily activity being around. So we came in contact with 9 of them, but 120 of those 129 never showed up on our radar again. How awesome is that? Yeah, thank you. They're doing a great job. And so I'll tell you that PTF generally takes 5 to 6 folks a month from Ventura County Jail and reconnects them to their hometown or to a loved one. And what happened is, because of this conversation, because of this program, our police chief said, we want to do a little bit more in-reach. We want to be able to be proactive in all of this. So they got probation involved, because a lot of people that are unhoused, they are on probation for different types of arrests. So they got probation involved. And what's happening now is that when they're in, probation's notified, and then they go in and they say, okay, let's get a game plan going. Who can we connect you with? How can we help you? How can we resource you so you don't end up back here in this situation again? And I want to tell you, there's more coming on that. I don't have all the facts yet. I don't have all the information yet, but I will tell you that there's legislation that's coming out that's going to require probation to become more hands-on in this. Super excited. It's working right now, and there's more to come, so stay tuned. I'll share that with you next time around. Some things that are coming up. I wanted to share with you that there's a call out to all artists. The city's inviting professional artists and artist teams to submit proposals for permanent tiled sculpture and sculptural installation as part of the Surfers Point Phase 2 project. Applications are now being open and being submitted online up until March 2nd, 2026. Full details of this are on our website. The other thing I wanted to share with you is Community Wildfire Protection Plan. The Ventura Fire Department, in partnership with the Ventura Regional Fire Safe Council, has drafted the city's first Community Wildfire Protection Plan. The plan focuses on reducing wildfire risk by prioritizing fuel reduction efforts and recommending actions to protect homes and structures. Community input is a key part of this process. Residents are invited to attend one of the next public workshops. We already had a couple. Actually, one's coming up February 18th at City Hall, or the other one is February 26th at the Fire Department headquarters on Dow Drive. And residents can also share their feedback through online questionnaires, open through Friday, February 27th. So let me share with you. I got a lot of other stuff, but Carver said something about what would it look like to have a city elected mayor. So that conversation is going to happen next week at City Council. I recommend to go if you're interested in that. What does that look like? We don't know exactly, but the City Council all agreed, 7-0 vote, that they wanted to have a discussion on that. Our City Council, our active City Council, not, at least the one from a year ago, maybe a year and a half ago, had a discussion on this and wanted to bring it forward. And so now we're bringing it back forward. So we don't know. Does it make sense to realign the districts? Does it make sense just to add a mayor to the 7 districts that we already have? The thing that would make things move quicker would be not change the districts and then just add a mayor. But so then what would the mayor do? Here's the conversation. What would the mayor do? Would the mayor just be a ceremonial type mayor? Or would we have a mayor with more teeth? Would this mayor actually have they don't vote, everybody else votes, but the mayor doesn't vote, but they would have veto power. Whoa, wouldn't that be crazy, huh? Having a mayor with veto power, something to think about. And then, maybe getting them more involved in state legislation, getting them involved in things that are not just city, but out there. So we'll see. The conversation should be pretty exciting. We're excited about it, so we'll see where that takes us. And because I only have a couple minutes left, are there any questions? Oh, do I? Okay. So will you let me know when I got? Okay, cool. Something I think super important is the Water East Side Midtown Interconnection Project that's happening February 26th through January 27. Our next major water infrastructure project will begin in the coming weeks along Foothill and Kimball Roads. The East Side Midtown Interconnection Project is the second phase of the recently completed Telegraph Road project, which how many love that driving on Telegraph Road now? Isn't it awesome? So there's going to be delays on that, but it's just an extension of that project. We got a new fire chief, Chris McDonald. So great guy. If you want to look him up online, super great guy. Been with us for 23 years and has actually held every rank in the fire department. So he's well equipped to do this. E.P. Foster Library is getting a renovation, $13 million renovation, and new air conditioning and anyway, that's taken place. It should be completed. It's going to start March 23rd, and will be temporarily closed until that gets done. But you can access the other mobile libraries and any of the other libraries in Ventura. We do have something that's super important, which is the Housing Connection, Ventura Housing Connection series. So there's workshops that are being held. The next one is February 26th from 6 to 8 at City Hall with Spanish interpretation. It's if you're a renter, a property owner, a property manager, like we invite you to come out and check out Ventura Housing Connection. It's a free workshop, and it's hosted by Community Development at the Community Development Room at City Hall. Construction updates, Telegraph Road, Ashwood to Hill. So we're finishing up touches. Actually, that should have finished today. The one from Telegraph to Ashwood. Then there's Ash to Front Street. These are Surfers Point. There's a major slurry seal project that's coming up. It's going to cover so much ground. I got to honestly have a whole paragraph of all the places it's going to cover throughout Ventura. And it's going to bring, in most of the places, 2 inches of asphalt. And so it's going to be awesome. Olivas Park Extension Drive is underway, and it's still slotted to be finished the 27th. And Johnson off-ramp stop sign is actually going to be going in 24th, 25th, Caltrans project. So there'll be the stop when you come off the off-ramp, so you'll be a 3-way stop on that. And then our council chambers are still under construction, and we should be back in at City Hall on April 14th. Until then, our meetings are at the Wright Center. So now, questions. Yes.
I have one. Okay. Is the freeway near California on the 101, is that going to be fixed with like some kind of pumps for the water? Because I know that just like floods out every time it rains.
Yeah, that's a great question.
Oh, that's not our district, but I just.
Yeah, no, it's a great question. I'll find out on that one. I would imagine if they're going to do repaving and things like that, absolutely. Because I know that's what they're looking at at Olivas Park and with the Auto Center Drive, pumps and the whole bit. Yeah, absolutely. That place, every time it rains, it floods up. Yeah. Yes.
I don't mean to put you on the spot about this, because I'm not sure if this is something that you would know, but we have a resident that's asking about people living in their cars in our neighborhood. Do you know what's legal about that, if anything can be done about that? And can you repeat the question?
Yeah. So the question is, what about people that are living in their cars in the neighborhood, right? So as of right now, Ventura does not have any kind of safe sleep program as of now. So there's not a place for anybody to go that's living out of their cars. Not really sure what their situation is, but there are resources available for people that do want help. There are different shelters. They're not all in Ventura, but there's some in Oxnard and there's some over the hill that could be a possibility for them. But as of right now, there's no place for them to go.
So they're allowed to sleep in their car on the street?
Well, unless there's no overnight parking signs, yeah. What we encourage them to do is find, a church or a place that they can go on a private property.
Are they ever going to finish the bottom part of Bristol?
Yes. Yeah, they are. I'll have to find out. We asked for it to get done sooner. I don't know. We'll have to follow up on that. But yeah, they are planning on doing that for sure.
I drove on it today and I went,
Yeah.
hello, this ain't bad.
I just drive on Telegraph now. I don't even drive around here. I just go back and forth on Telegraph and feel really good about it.
I don't do that very often.
Travel a lot to go to the post office,
Yeah.
so that's the main street.
Yeah. No.
What's the holdup?
What I don't understand is why it just wasn't included when we went down all the way down Bristol. But there was a reason, and it was before I got on city council. So I don't know. But I'll follow up on that because I know it's been a big issue for me too. And it's in the CIP plan. It's just later down the road. But they just did a study with all the streets. So I'm guessing that's going to make its way to the top because it's so bad. Yeah. Yes.
Yeah, well, actually, just, the pavement management plan is coming up, right?
Yes.
And then, so you said, they just did a study. Are these, the plan, is it gonna be fairly well set as to what's going to be, or is there any room for residents to go and lobby and possibly get something moved up, like Bristol?
There is absolutely always an opportunity for residents to come in and talk about that, and it helps me.
Yeah.
It really helps me when I have residents come up and say, here's what's going on, because they hear me and they go, "That's great, Jim." But then when they hear you, it's a lot better.
And then, one more question actually was, can you update us just on, I know city council recently just kind of talked about the, potential, sales tax, that would be going
The bond measure?
Yeah, where would we go on that?
So basically, it was the first study went out to see what everybody thought, and surprisingly, everybody said they were okay with a 1 penny increase, which was surprising, but it was still only 52% of the population. So it wasn't like a massive amount, but it's over 50%. So the goal is one penny or a half a penny, but what that's all going to go for, if it is approved, they're doing another workshop. They're getting a little deeper, but they want to make it more of a general fund. So if there is an emergency, they could use it for that. But really, the priority and what we heard. Here's what I heard in the survey. What I heard in the survey is, can we just fix what we already have? Can we not start adding new stuff? Can we just fix, and streets and sidewalks, absolutely number one thing. And so that, as city council, that we're gonna, I know they don't want to make it specific, then it's a 3/4 vote that you need to pass that along. But we just need to hold everybody accountable in regards to when we do decide if that's what we want to do, what we're gonna spend the money on. But anyway, I'm out of time, and I thank you very, very much. Thank you.
Awesome. And I am happy to say, we already have a wicked agenda for April, and we will have Jeff Hereford here from the city to talk about the pavement management plan. So we will definitely be chatting about that then, and we'll be following it along as it comes to council, and we'll make sure that the squeaky wheel gets the grease, and we will definitely make sure that Montalvo area gets some pavement love. Yeah, definitely. That's a goal of ours. And then, like Matt Kane shared before, we also plan to have Mac Douglas here to chat about the Red Deer Ventura neighborhood in April, given that it's the 8-year anniversary of the Thomas Fire, and I know Montalvo's on a fault line as well, so super important that we're all ready and have our go bags and everything set. But we have Dr. Antonio Castro here tonight. They had a very difficult, long meeting last night. There's a lot happening in the school district locally, and so really honored to have you here to talk to us about it tonight.
Good evening, everyone. It's a pleasure to be here with you. I have a PowerPoint presentation. Since I'd originally planned to spend all my time on this, but there was a request to talk about access to campuses. So what I'm going to do is spend 7 minutes on school closures, provide some general updates, and spend 3 on access to campuses, which is a separate issue. So I'm going to do a truncated version of this. So we're going to skip this slide and keep going until I tell you to stop. It's right here with the lockers. Okay. A little bit of background. The school district, as many school districts in the state of California, are experiencing extreme declining enrollment. It's actually very unique to Ventura County, however. Ventura County, depending upon the metric, is experiencing declining enrollment, either second or third, the highest rate in the state. So that's pretty well established fact. Don't have a lot of time to get into the background, but if you need some of the issues related to demographics, take a look at the 2025 State of the Region report. A lot of the factors are in there. So fast forward to where we are. Our Board of Education, one of whom here, Calvin Peterson, one of our trustees is here. Thank you for being here. Gave us direction last year to adjust the use of our space to our planned enrollment. And so we are going to start this school closures committee process, school closures advisory committee. The first meeting will be next month in March. It will go through, plans to go through October of next year. They will take recommendations to the board, and the board will determine whether or not they're under no obligation to, but they'll have the opportunity to consider based on the metrics that are going to be considered here on the right-hand column, which is a wide variety of data. We are using School Services of California, which have guided school districts across the state through this really arduous and data-driven process. And at that point, the board will have the opportunity to consider, do we close a school? Do we close multiple schools? Will it be an elementary school, a middle school, and a high school? All of that is to be determined, which is, in terms of right now, no decision has been made about which school would be closed. However, preemptively, the two schools that certainly will not be closed are Buena and Ventura High School, because there is no combination currently that would allow us to be able to absorb that population across any campus. So that has been informally stated. We've had discussion about it. The board has given us direction. We're moving our bond projects around that concept. But until the School Closure Advisory Committee meets and we set that as a parameter until those schools are removed from the criteria, that is just a way that we're moving through it. So in terms of the criteria on the right-hand column, there's a lot of metrics to be considered, but birth rates, the campus usage, the number of students, demographics, school performance, amount of resources put into a school or not put into a school over time, the transportation that it would take to potentially move students from one to another, school of choice boundaries, et cetera. All of these metrics will be considered as a part of that school closure process. And so then if you can skip to the timeline. Okay. And so as I shared, we are starting next month on meeting one. You can take a look at the general structure. This is a Brown Act committee. Everyone is welcome to participate. They will take public comments. The committee will be advised by staff, but staff are not formal members of the committee, but we will be there to guide the committee, answer questions, provide resources, and the process is paced along that. So the first is the organizational meeting, demographics and capacity analysis, and as I shared before, a lot of time on facilities, educational support services. This is more about how schools are doing, how successful have they been, what populations are they serving, would those populations be able to be absorbed in another campus, are there special programs like dual immersion programs or other STEM-related programs that we would need to make sure that we could still offer programmatically at another school. Then we move on to the fiscal impacts, which again, how many students could we put on a particular campus, what would be the total number of staff that would be reduced. And in general, one thing that's important to know is that class size is determined by our contract, a contract with the association. So class size is not something people think about that. Oh, does that mean, because if we're combining schools, does that mean classes will get bigger? It's already predetermined by our contract. But what is determined is the number of staff that it takes to be able to staff particular schools. That's where the saving comes in. So in general, the amount of savings for closing an elementary school ranges from about $700,000 to $1 million. For a middle school, that ranges from about $1 million to just over $2.5 million. In high schools, that's where you get into the above $3 million range. And so that is how much time I have to spend on school closure. Would you want me to take questions now or after I finish the next portion? Okay. Okay. Great. So then let's go ahead and transition to the other presentation. I was asked to also speak to campus availability. And so this presentation, you'll note the date. This is just a truncated version of a previous PowerPoint that the board considered. This is back in April of 2025. If you want the full presentation, you're welcome to go back. All of these are public. You can track them down. But if you can start here, so what is a joint use agreement? We have entities across the city who are wondering, how can we get access to your schools? You have the ability for short-term rentals. You can do that at any point. There's a whole system. It's called Facilitron. Go online, look at Facilitron. We can work with you to be able to use portions of a campus for almost any purpose. And that's a really short-term process. But if for entities that are looking to be able to have access to our campus for extended periods of time, it is really important that we enter into joint use agreements. So we are open to joint use agreements, again, with any entity that can meet us with some of the requirements that are important to the district. So if you can scroll down, skip this slide. So common considerations for joint use. If you take a look at this slide, I don't have enough time to get into everything, but if you look at the bottom, there are some really important concepts, but one of the biggest is the liability and indemnification. I know that most of our community looks at our campuses and thinks of them as open spaces, public spaces. The reality is that we're responsible for everything that happens on that campus. Even in our after-school environments where people are walking their dogs, we've had students injured by dogs attacking them. When students are on campus, we've had, actually when students and staff are on campus, whether it be early in the morning or late in the evening, we've had safety scares. So it is important that we, among all things, create safe environments for students, staff, and families. This is why one of the reasons is to formalize the terms of who will be on that campus, under what conditions, what will be that shared liability, and in some cases, costs. So for example, the ability for groups when they are using our space, it is absolutely natural for people to have to use the restroom. It's also, we just had our city council member here, that's one of the most common areas where you see vandalism, and you see the unhoused needing that space too. So these are some of the reasons that we need to be able to partner responsibly with entities that want prolonged access to the campuses, and for us to be able to agree under what conditions those campuses will be used. And so if you can scroll down, yes. So activities that do not meet the definition of joint use is when, contrary to what I just shared, there is no formal community partner agreement, that there would be an expectation that the district take on all of the expenses for the community use of the campus. That is not a joint use. And then, and number 3, the increasing number of USD schools are utilized for district programs during the afternoon. That joint use cannot conflict with the district's ability to operate. And as you can imagine, our high schools in particular are busy from very early in the morning until very late at night. In fact, after this, I'm going to go and try and catch a playoff game, basketball game. But even our elementary schools and our middle schools, especially because after the state implemented something called Expanded Learning Opportunities programs, we now have campuses, almost all of our elementary campuses and some of our middle school campuses being utilized from early morning until dusk. So that's another factor that people need to consider, is that we need to be able to operate our schools because that is our primary business, as you can imagine. So I will stop there and take any questions anyone might have. And again, thank you for having me tonight. Yes?
Thank you, Dr. Castro, for coming tonight and explaining the school closure and so forth. On the second point that you were talking about, would you or would the school board be open to discussing with the city opportunities to open up maybe on a rotating basis, like on a Saturday, whether it's during the summer, maybe on a rotating basis, different schools, maybe at the Montalvo school site, open up, Loma Vista, open up various schools on a rotating basis. And right now, there's very limited opportunities for students to get onto the campuses. It used to be where you could just walk. I lived
Right.
half a block from Montalvo School, and I used to take my young daughters 20 years ago. We'd go play basketball and play on the playground and so forth. And there's really no opportunity to do that anymore. I understand there's liability and things change over time, but is there an opening? Is there a possibility for something like that?
So my understanding, the protocol is repeat the question. So the question is the school district open to entertaining partnerships with the city or any other entity? The answer is yes. We've had many conversations. In fact, we have portions of things that look like joint use agreements with the city in other ways. But in terms of the suggestion that the city would work with us to provide general access to the public, the answer is yes. We would need to meet one another's terms. And I imagine with the city, based on our previous cursory discussions, they would have two similar concerns, the liability and the cost. But the answer is yes. All right, any other questions? Yes.
A question. I didn't go and review the deep list of all the staff that was, approved for, layoffs yesterday.
Yesterday, okay.
I think I saw a few counselors, but in the context of everything that's been happening locally in terms of the ICE raids, and I feel like earlier there was something that happened locally at the high school or in front of a school bus. Just how does the school district intend to support families and kids and balance those two, given the loss of that resource?
Yeah, great question. So the question broadly is, at yesterday's board meeting, there were some recommendations for reduction that included counseling staff. And then how will the district continue to provide services and supports to students, in particular those whose families may be affected by ICE? First of all, everything that's going on related to ICE is having an impact. It has had an impact in fits and starts, in particular with attendance at some of our Title I schools that are along the avenue, and then we see a recovery. But the thing that doesn't necessarily recover is the impact on the families. And so one of the things that we, as we're seeing this process play out, our schools become aware of the families that are the most affected, and then we rally that support around them. Counseling is part of that. The reduction at the secondary level is about 3 counselors across the entire district. And one of the reasons that is possible is that for many years the district has had counseling ratios that were above and beyond what we were required to do in the contract, and actually above and beyond what was even recommended by the Association of School Counseling. And so as we go from a district that was in excess of 17,000 students to about 13,000 students, we're trying to bring that ratio to be back in line with what our enrollment is. So that's one part of it. The other reductions were to elementary counseling, the equivalent of 1 day a week of counseling services. The state has given us another funding mechanism to be able to potentially augment that. It's called Prop 28. However, that Prop 28 plan is not at the district's discretion, it is at the site's discretion. And so we work with the principals as Prop 28 is one of an array of potential funding sources, to be able to figure out a way for the sites to be able to augment that difference in the reduction. But again, most of that is due to a lot of the losses with enrollments, but also some losses in state funding and one-time dollars as well. So that's the general plan, and also the rationale behind those reductions.
And connected to funding, back in '22, we had Measure E. You should provide a quick update on there's been a lot that's come from that.
Yes.
Is it done, or new projects?
No, we have really, really important question to piggyback on. I wanted to take this opportunity to draw attention to the board. The board has been really a directive to the staff to not waste any of those bond dollars for potential school closures. And so we have had our bond implementation plan revised. We just last night, the board asked us to reconsider whether or not a particular roofing project would be necessary. So that way we can make sure that we are spending those dollars the way that we need to spend them, despite the little bit of uncertainty around which schools may be closed. That said, prior to that, a lot of the work that has been very exciting, right? Things that aren't necessarily as exciting, roofs and HVAC. It's exciting if you were on the East End and it's 90 plus degrees. It's really exciting to have HVAC. But the things that are exciting for everyone are the playgrounds. We've been fortunate to have a lot of coverage on that. Our inclusive playgrounds have become a standard, whereas before they were an anomaly. And so those are some real sources of pride for us. There are some other projects, but those are the notable ones. Thank you. Yeah.
Will there be one more round of proposed cuts in March, at the March board meeting?
Really good question. Sorry, thank you. It was such a good question, I should repeat it. Will there be any more proposed cuts? Right now, there are none anticipated, but districts have the ability to move until March 15 to make those notifications. The issue is that all of that has to be completed by that time. That said, if there were to be some emergency that happened between now and then, whether it be state or federal, I think it would be responsible on the part of the superintendent to bring that to the board and to let them decide whether or not that was something that was so critical that we needed to act immediately. We don't foresee anything like that on the horizon. In fact, the federal budget for the next year was funded at flat funding, which, although most people don't like flat funding in this environment, we appreciate it. So right now, there aren't any factors on the horizon where we see an emergency of that level transpiring that would necessitate us bringing more reductions that were already proposed. Okay. Yes.
I have a question in regards to multi-language learners and how federal funding is cutting like some of the money that's going to those programs specifically, and so I'm just wondering like how is the district thinking about that in terms of future planning, especially as you're trying to rectify the budget moving forward?
Okay, thank you. The question is, when it comes to multilingual learners and the federal budget, how are we managing how we provide those programs despite some threats of reduction to those programs? We've been fortunate, and I just mentioned this a moment ago, that there were those threats, and we were monitoring those threats to say that we would potentially lose the equivalent for us in that is Title III funding. We will be funded or projected to be funded flat for Title III. So that right now, at face value, is a good thing for us. A trend, though, that follows with the demographic shifts, we are, over time, experiencing fewer multilingual learners. And so the threat, if there is one, is actually less funding because we have fewer multilingual learners. But the dual immersion programs that we have, not directly tied to that funding in any way, is a board priority. We will continue to support those schools. But in terms of the funding, it is becoming more of a challenge to provide the level of service that we have provided to multilingual learners, like we used to do when we are having fewer of them being funded because there are fewer of them in the district. Yeah. Okay. Well, thank you very much. I appreciate your time. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Castro. Nice. Yeah, with or without kids, the VUSD students are the future of our city. So definitely very appreciative of the updates, and we'll definitely stay tuned on everything that's happening. Fabulous. Well, we are very much on time. We're doing great. Our next section here is our Vice Chair, James Lowry, to chat about connecting as a community and walking around the neighborhood.
Thank you, Karma. Hello, everyone. There we go. Get that. Adjust this for the short people here. There we go. All right. Hey, so I don't know if some of you have noticed that I think we took a break for the holidays, and so December, I think maybe November, December, January, we were off. But I know September, October, we started kind of trying to get people together to go out and walk the neighborhoods, and it's an exciting program because, well, it's exciting to me, because we use the Ventura Connects app to report potholes. Now, yes, I know this does not sound that exciting. Okay, maybe it's just for me, but yeah. See, Karma's in on it too. Yeah, so like, you know what though? It's good. You bring your dog. You walk for an hour. It's nice. But what I've noticed though, and because it's not because I have too much time on my hands, but I actually downloaded my list of reports that I've made. And the city sends this to you, by the way. The Ventura Connect app is very cool because you can, with the click of a button, get a list of everything that you've requested and then that you've reported. And so now I took the extra step of putting it in a spreadsheet because I'm me. And look, if it's not in a Google sheet, it doesn't exist. Okay, I'm sorry. That's just, But then I went around and I verified everything this last weekend, actually, taking a look and saying, okay, you know what? These were all reported as closed, and did they actually get done? And if you can go ahead and go over to the next one, you can see here. Oh, no worries. 2400 block of Grand Avenue. You could see there, that got done from one of our walks. So I was really excited to see that. Now, is that the only thing that needs to be done on Grand Avenue? No, but it's a start. And I know some people have responded back with, why are we doing this? What are we, this isn't our responsibility. And the fact is that, you know what? The only way it's going to get done is if we get out there and we report it, because the city actually doesn't necessarily know this is happening unless we report it. So it's important for all of us to, that Ventura Connects is the app that they have to report things to Public Works. It goes straight to it goes straight to, because there's several different sections. And actually, Cassie, you'd mentioned earlier that someone saw a hole being cut through a fence and a new encampment coming up. There is a section for that as well. It's graffiti removal. It's a problem at the parks. So there's a lot of different avenues. I just use it for pavement and potholes. And if you can go on to the next one here, you see that this was right out here in front of Montalvo Drive, okay? So this is the one that was in front of it was a huge pothole too. I mean, it's about, as you can see, there were two of them actually. And so that got filled. And so I did see, I didn't take pictures of all of them that got filled because it's kind of tough to see which one was my pothole because there's a lot of them. There's a lot of them here. I'm gonna do a better job of tagging them next time. But if you go and look at the next page here, these are all the ones that we've gotten done. And I didn't even fit it in there correctly. But because that we were able to do that, and because I've gone through, and I will say, I went to all these spots. I did see maybe one or two that I wasn't sure, but that could also be my error too of where exactly it was. So it's just something good to know as I've been going through this checking for accuracy process, learning a few things. But the more important thing is we're going to be back at it again at the end of the month. And we're going to do this the last Saturday of every month, 9 o'clock. We'll pick a spot in the neighborhood. And if everyone just comes, bring your phone. If you can you go back to the front page? Go to the Ventura website. It's called Ventura Connects. It's on the Apple and the Google Play Store. It's also actually on your. You could do it on your desktop computer if you wanted to. So you could actually just go take pictures, which I might do next. This is going to be my and don't need to put a filter on it or anything like that. But a sepia tone on a pavement at sunset really looks beautiful. But no, actually, you could do it on your computers if you want. So if you want to just go and take pictures of everything and then go home and just report everything at once, you can do that. That's going to be my next one to try out. But I encourage you all to join us. And if you have any questions about this, I've been using the app, and so I can walk you through it on those days the best that I know how.
But yeah, that's just it's so far it's working, and I'm happy about it. And I will be also contacting people to see if what date we want to maybe go to the city council and petition for definitely Bristol, and a few other spots. I know there's which one was it? I think Stork over by my house is in really bad shape. So everyone's got a street around here that's in bad shape. So we just got to go and make sure that our streets get on the pavement management plan. And I think the best way we can do that is by going and advocating for ourselves.
James, can you see up on the screen there, these are the things you can report?
Yes.
Can you read them for us?
Absolutely. Yes. It's animal issues, building safety or compliance issues, drainage, fire inspections, graffiti removal, hazardous material regulation, homeless encampment cleanup and outreach request, other issues, overgrown vegetation, parking and traffic enforcement, parking infrastructure, parking service, parks facility maintenance issue, potholes, sidewalks, streetlights and signs, traffic infrastructure, trash and debris removal, trees, wastewater services, water, and website. Yeah. So, yeah. Any questions or probably not? It's oh, yeah.
Not necessarily a question, I just want to affirm that this works. I've been using it for the past several weeks for graffiti,
Uh-huh.
and in every single case, they've been removed within 24 hours. In fact,
Wow.
one case they were on it within the hour. I took my walk, reported it, because if you take it, the picture while you're there, the
Mhm.
location hones in on it perfectly.
Yeah.
By the time I got back to my walk and came home, they were already clean.
Wow. So we've got a testimony here that on graffiti removal, the last few weeks, and has been removed within 24 hours. Each report, one of them removed within the hour. That is amazing. Had gone out on his walk, taken the picture of it, reported it, got home, and then left and saw it was already taken care of. So that's very cool. Yeah. All right. Thank you. And we'll see you all out there hitting the streets on February 28th. All right.
Awesome. That is really great. I love that testimony. Again, the squeaky wheel gets the grease. And we're definitely, Montalvo, we've only been a part of the city since 2012. And I feel like prior to that, we must have been not getting any love, really. So we have some catching up to do. So yeah, we're going to be taking over the Connect app. They're going to be sick of us. Okay, well, this next section, I don't know. I'm definitely a fan of kind of making sure that we're educating, but also listening to community members. And it is our first meeting of the year. So really wanted to dedicate some time for both public comment and an opportunity just to think about goals for the community council. It's an election year, so as we go slowly towards November, what are some of the things we want to be advocating for Montalvo and District 6 kind of more broadly? So this is really a time for kind of us collectively just to bring up topics that we feel like should be agenda items at future meetings, or just, now that we're a 501c3 as well, we can raise money. And, we did a really great job a few years ago on the stunning mural that's very close by. So do we want to do a round 2 of that? Really just turn the mic in this direction towards y'all and kind of see your thoughts, hear your thoughts, I should say. So, yeah, I'm gonna step back and just offer up if anyone has any thoughts on kind of where we should dedicate our time and energy this year.
I think fundraising is a very good idea.
Fundraising, for sure, from our treasurer. Matt.
Oh my goodness, I'm blanking on his name. We were talking to him earlier from the school district.
Calvin.
Oh, Calvin. He did make a comment of maybe this year could be a focus of canvassing or having some kind of events to get more for people to come be
Totally.
part of this. Because he was talking to his neighbors, and they're like, we didn't even know this thing was happening.
Yeah, for
I feel
sure.
like I've been doing it for like 10, 12 years.
Yeah. Yeah, canvassing, getting out, and that's definitely, yeah. We want to have for the 2 extra meetings that we've added onto the calendar this year. We want to kind of be out there, go, set up a ice cream truck or a taco truck at the park, and kind of all meet there, or do it at a local business or brewery. Topa Cold Street, something like that. So just kind of meet folks where they're at. So I love that idea. Anything else top of mind? Or what brought, yeah, Mark.
Just outreach.
Yeah.
So the having events so people can meet,
For sure.
get together, gather, and then, hey, what's going on with you? What are things we should be working on? Just what you've already said.
Mm-hmm.
And then outreach. There's different parts of District 6, like the area where Barnes and Noble, our district
Yeah.
housing goes at least that far.
Mm-hmm.
And yet, I think people sometimes hear Montalvo and they're thinking, oh, it's just that little
Mhm.
Montalvo. But no, we're District 6. We've got a,
Yeah.
Harmon Branca, Harmon Park. There's areas, there's a number of different areas, and I don't know that people are aware that our Montalvo area community council is much broader than just little Montalvo.
Yeah. I'll repeat it for those who might be listening in, but our District 6 territory spans a significantly larger boundary line than what is formally Montalvo, the little neighborhood here. So just kind of extending our reach past this neighborhood and making sure that we're connecting with folks north, south, east, and west.
I think as a board member, I think we really need to put out the word that we're looking for someone who can do social media.
Yes, social media, which aligns with outreach, yeah. Although there are so many kinds nowadays. There's so many.
There's some way to let people know
Yeah.
what we're doing and what we, how big the district is, and
Mhm.
they're part of it, have the boundaries shown, and,
Yeah.
because the boundaries do change,
Mm-hmm.
so just let people know that they're part of District 6.
Yeah.
Trying to find an image to put up, I'm struggling to get one.
Yeah, there we go.
There's a lot of work for the purple one. The dark purple one.
Yeah. Yes.
Well, if people don't have things top of mind right now, how should they share that with you at a later time for your goals?
If people would like to share their goals, if they can follow up, they can email montalvocomcouncil@gmail.com. montalvocomcouncil@gmail.com. Yes.
I was just thinking, maybe a different location. District 6 is that purple, where are we right now?
We are
Just down at the bottom there.
I'm trying to follow.
Near
Yeah.
101
Yeah, right there.
freeway
Right there.
in Victoria, and we're just to the right of Victoria, so in that area. There's
Do you have any suggestions for locations?
the orange is Doug Halters. Yeah, so in the red that's the avenue. That's Councilmember Liz Campos. Then we have Doug Halter in the foothills. Pierpont is Alex Mangoni. Yellow is 3, Ryan Schumacher. Obviously, the one we're in, 6 is Duran. Yeah, that's us. And then the light blue is going to be McReynolds, Bill McReynolds, District 5. And then on the very east end, Satakoy Wells, that is Mayor Dr. Jeanette Sanchez Palacios. Yeah, we'll definitely consider it. We've hunted before, but it's tough to find we have there's the Barranca Vista kind of community center, but they have a lot of evening programming, so they're tough to nail down. And Matt and the church here have been very kind and accommodating over the years, so it's a difficult location to leave in some respects. We're very appreciative of there.
We had two. We don't have to leave here. We could add two. And
Of course.
keep people rotating. And
Yeah.
If we had more, that's gonna, I think, force us to maybe have more outreach, do more social media. So
Yeah.
that way people know. So yeah, I mean, there'd be a lot there.
Mm-hmm. Are there any issues at city council where we need to be, or that we would like to be vocal on, or really, we're definitely, the pavement management plan, we're about to be very loud. But just in kind of other regards, whether it's, we certainly as a board, every meeting that we have, we take a look at the development maps to see what's coming up in our district. And so, if there is something coming on that y'all are asked that we kind of attend and speak on the community's behalf, we certainly can do that as well.
I don't know if we want to address it at this moment, but the stop signs are going in. The Johnson Drive has been such a
Yeah.
topic for people, and now we did everything we could and stop signs are going in.
Yeah, so background on the Johnson, so the 101 northbound off-ramp for Johnson Avenue, we put out a survey and had it up for a few weeks given that Caltrans was having conversations with us and with the city around how to improve that off-ramp, since, anyone on Ventura Avenue or on North Bank trying to come onto the highway or kind of turning left from Ventura is just at the whim of anyone coming off of the highway. And especially if you're on North Bank trying to get onto the highway, that's a terrifying spot to be at currently. So Caltrans did a study. They looked at various options: a stop light, a stop sign, business as usual. And ultimately what they identified through their planning transportation math was that a stop sign is the best option in terms of traffic efficiency and movement of vehicles safely. So despite our survey of the community indicating that people do not want a stop sign, it is approved and by the city and Caltrans, and will be proceeding, and I think being installed next month. So prepare yourselves for a Johnson off-ramp stop sign.
Yeah, a lot of people going.
Oh yeah, I can send out a few things. So Dr. Castro's reference of that, the county report, it is actually fascinating and super, super interesting. Has a lot of data on our economy, on our demographics, on our schools, housing. We'll send out a link to the community. There's a link that folks can look at. We'll send out that, and then I'll also send out the plans for the Johnson off-ramp. There are going to be pretty big signs, and then for the first, I think, 60 days, they're going to have big orange flags and blinkers. So it should be fairly apparent that a stop sign is going to be ahead.
People are creatures of habit.
Yeah.
It's going to be...
One of the interesting things that I remember from this was the presentation to the city council a few weeks ago about that report. What's the name of the agency, the organization? It's something economics, I think, something, but the report they did.
Yeah.
The population of Ventura City since the 1970s has doubled, but the number of students in schools has remained the same.
We're aging.
Yeah. So we're
Mhm.
like, so it's the same number of students as it was in the 70s. Just with, but yeah, so we're definitely, you can see what's going on with
Yeah.
school closures.
Definitely. Yeah, we'll make sure to send that out. Yeah.
I do want to make a comment. The number of homeschool students and co-ops have like
Gone up.
exponentially
Yeah.
gone up. Like we get messaged all the time about leveraging our space for tons of families.
Wow.
Yeah.
So that's something a lot of people don't know is in Ventura.
Interesting. I wonder if that factored into that report, or if that's a statistic on there, just in terms of who's homeschooled and like kind of co-op education at home.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Yeah, there's like 60, 75 kids that show up here on every Tuesday
Whoa.
for just this tiny area. So I'd be interested to know what the stats are for all of Ventura.
That's a lot of tiny humans. Yeah. Wow.
I think one of the school board trustees said they average like a little over the 300 students lost like every year.
Yeah.
So that's partly, and that's like roughly the size of an elementary school, like a whole elementary school.
We're losing almost an elementary school's worth of students a year in the city. Yeah. I mean, we have a lot that the city is going to be dealing with this year. I mean, the school district, Ventura Unified School District, as well as the city. I know the Ventura water rates were approved, so definitely we'll be kind of seeing increased water and wastewater bills over the coming months and years. I think we can kind of come together and try to like advocate for what customer assistance programs could and should look like for the community. I know there's a lot of folks who are concerned about fixed income seniors and just, how the community is supposed to absorb those increasing costs. So definitely want to make sure that just folks are advocated for. Anything? Yes.
I was just thinking about the Johnson exit, and then I was thinking about the like food vendor that is popping up in front of Tractor Supply, and I know that there's other
Food vendors.
I don't want to say it's a taqueria, but that's like what comes to mind as like are popping up in other places around the city. So I'm just kind of curious about like, is that like a permit like thing, or how to like, because then there's also other people that are, either the vagrant population or other unhoused people.
I don't think food vendors were a category on Ventura Connect. Come to think of it.
I'm curious about
It should be.
what
Yeah.
is the status of that kind of situation, especially since that is right off of that exit, and so like for me, that's how I come home every day.
Jim Duran addressed that a couple times.
Yeah.
But we can ask him to bring it up again.
There was, so there was, the last that we got information on that was that it needed to be the county as the enforcement mechanism because it's a health department issue.
Yeah.
And so with that, the city could do it because with the city, it'd be more of a civil issue. Yeah, business permit. They don't have a business permit, but it's not enough to seize and close. And there was supposed to be, we were told there was going to be a task force with the county and city together. We haven't seen it yet, or maybe they've done it and it's, so it's, my wife has a cottage baking license and runs a home-based baking business as a side hustle. And the county contacts us for lists of ingredients and everything like that, and like we've joked like, getting licensed was the worst thing we ever did. But no way they're permitted because there's no refrigeration or hand washing stations. That's, yeah,
There's no permits.
no.
And when they do confiscate stuff, the LA people, they're all from LA, come up, or most of them are from LA, they replace it.
Yeah.
Mark.
Yeah, I just noticed that they set up after 5 o'clock. Why? Because the county health department closes. So there's, and so there's this sort of loophole in state law. You know, the city police can't shut them down because it's a health-related issue. So, I think Steve Bennett, our legislator, assembly person, I think he's having a town hall.
It's this weekend.
Oh, yeah, this weekend?
Yeah. Yes, there's a yes.
Ventura County this weekend.
Oh, that's right, yeah.
At the Museum of Ventura.
But there's no need for any new laws, because there's already existing laws that we can use to say, hey, no, you can't do this, you need a permit. The health department needs to, yeah. And I'm sorry, I don't want to get my personal opinion involved in this one, but I will tell you this, the health department, they find better success from their offices, contacting people. It's business hours, it's 8 to 5, and so and a lot of times they're working out of their offices or they're just going to known places,
We'll definitely consider that as a future agenda item for someone to talk about. And to your point, Mark, Saturday, February 21st, for those who are interested, Assemblymember Steve Bennett is having a coffee chat at 10 a.m. at the Museum of Ventura County. So definitely an opportunity to connect at the assembly level. The Museum of Ventura County, downtown. But that was wonderful. Thank you so much. We can, I definitely want to say thank you for taking time out of your night to come and listen and hear what's going on in the city. April, like I said, the pavement management plan will have updates, the emergency management, and then possibly Ventura Land Trust since it's Earth Month. As well. So a lot to look forward to. And with that, we can close the meeting. Thanks, folks. Have a wonderful evening.